This is interesting now, what the president is doing on taxes. Clearly somebody's gotten to him, it sounds like, in making an argument for what type of tax cuts you could sell better. You want to take up indexing of capital gains to inflation, maybe explain it a little bit, and talk about your thoughts on the president characterizing that as either elitist or other people would see it as elitist. What do you think?
First thing, in explaining indexing capital gains, if you somehow bought a stock for, say, $10,000 30 years ago and you sell it today, it's probably gone up in value, but a lot of that increase in value might simply be because of inflation. And so the idea of indexing capital gains, in some sense, it's almost a moral argument in addition to an economic argument. It says people shouldn't be taxed on gains that are only due to inflation, and experts estimate that this would be akin or equivalent to slightly reducing, maybe by 3 percentage points, the capital gains tax rate. Now, that would be good for the economy. And when you're looking at it in the first order effect, yes, rich people get most of the benefits, but as there's more investment in the economy, presumably the rest of us will benefit as well.
Of course. Now, the perception, though, sometimes politically becomes the reality that this goes after or helps the investor class rather than the middle class. So the president a few minutes ago said he's looking at middle class tax cuts, but maybe as a kind of an example about the fact that he's been just in the last couple of days all over the place on this kind of thing, just said, according to our Hillary Vaughn, who sent it out, they asked him about a payroll tax cut, Dan, and as a follow-up, and he said, and I'm quoting now, "I'm not looking at a tax cut now. We don't need it. We have a strong economy." So that's kind of the push-pull with the Federal Reserve, it seems to me, is that, hey, if things are so great, why do you have to cut taxes? Same thing. If things are so great, why do we need to cut interest rates? So it's trying to argue the economy's strong, and that gets into whether we need to have more stimulus or not, right? What do you think?
It is strange. It's like the president, some days he wakes up on the left side of the bed, he says one thing, other day he wakes up on the right side of the bed and says something else. But here's the bottom line politically. He can do indexing by himself. There might be a court case about it, but it's within his authority because it's a regulatory matter for the Treasury Department.
Yeah, there's a little controversy about that, right? Or it's not, but you think he could get it done himself if he wanted to?
Well, he could certainly do it, whether or not the courts would ultimately overturn it. I doubt they would, but who knows? But here's the thing. He can't cut payroll taxes by himself. And is there any chance the Democrats would vote for an additional tax cut, especially leading up to the 2020 election? I think that's a fantasy. Now, there is one big tax cut Trump can deliver unilaterally for the American people. He can get rid of all his trade taxes he's been imposing.
Right, get rid of the tariffs. That would be the bigger stimulus, right?